and bring up our last speaker, because she's got some fascinating stories to tell as well. And she also has written a book, and it's a really terrific book called My Billion-Year Contract. She got into Scientology when she was a youth in college, and she was hanging out with her stoner friends thinking there's got to be more than this, and there was. Unfortunately, it was Scientology. And she's Nancy Maney, and she's got quite a story to tell.
Hello, guys. Jeff and I haven't actually talked about this, but our length of time of involvement is pretty extensive, because I did join as a teenager, and I still have involvement, not directly from the inside, but from the outside. I wrote my book basically as a part of it was as a healing kind of a thing. My experiences throughout Scientology are very varied, and they touch upon almost everybody here, and some areas that are not there. I've experienced the RPF. I have worked for their intelligence bureau. Now, I'm talking about deep cover intelligence for both the Snow White program that was implemented years ago by the Guardian's Office. The Office of Special Affairs took over the Guardian's Office and said, we don't do these kind of things anymore. We are totally legal and do what we are supposed to do. And I was also a deep cover an undercover spy for OSA. And I can categorically state that that's not true. There is not much difference between what I was asked to do in the Guardian's Office and what I was asked to do in OSA. Intelligence is meant to, Mike Rinder said it very, very well. You have an attacker, you have a person who's in your sights, and you want to find the most valuable thing about that person so that then you can threaten it. And by threatening it, you will get that person to back down. So that is the policy, the modus operandi. That was how they worked in the GO, and that was how they continue to work now. Now they have the extra buffer of attorneys hire more private investigators. It's much more expensive now than it was with the GO. And you have the attorney-client privilege. So the church doesn't know whatever their attorney did. They don't know, or even if they did, they wouldn't share it. I also worked with Hubbard. I was Hubbard's assistant when he was in hiding. And he had basically 7 divisions of his organization, and he had an assistant for each one of those divisions. And I was over the division called Division 6, which is Public Relations and Worldwide Expansion, which includes celebrities. And it includes how to get people into Scientology. How do you get, I mean, everybody in this room would probably think I would never. You could never. Oh, well, I'm telling you, you could. I was on a radio show a number of months ago where I did a recruitment cycle on the radio announcer, and he was just like, well, yeah, I'd like that. The training to be able to get somebody into Scientology, whether they're celebrities or not, is basically the same. The difference with the celebrities is they are handled with kid gloves. They are handled a bit, they don't plow in, because if a regular person blows off and says, I don't like you, they don't care. But if it's a celebrity, they've got a lot of investment and they want that celebrity, and they don't want that celebrity bad-talking you. I left the church, the C organization. I stopped working at all for Scientology in 1986 or 1987. And during that time, I then became a public Scientologist because I did it backwards. I was not public. I was like many on the stage. I started at the top and then kind of went down. end result was they got a hold of an email that I had sent to a woman who was in doubt about Scientology. She was confused, felt very similar to her. I really felt a kindred spirit there. And she was in South Africa, and there was a lot of stuff going on. And she wrote to me saying, "How can you talk to me? You're a Scientologist. You're not supposed to talk to me because I'm declared." And I wrote back with my real name saying, "I'm not afraid of talking to you. I'm afraid of the spies that Scientology is going to put near you." And in actual fact, I found out years later she never got that telex. In 5 months, I was called in to the HGB building where OSA intelligence is, and I was handed that email. The irony of being handed that email in the inner sanctum of Scientology was not lost on me, but seemed to be lost on the people on the other side of the table. They didn't quite get the concept. I also found out that the woman involved in South Africa never did receive it herself. They offered me help. They said, "Okay, we have somebody, we're ready to help you. We know you have all kinds of doubts and confusions about Scientology. You've invested a lot of your life, a lot of your time, and we're going to help you." And they brought me in for basically what was an interrogation. It was, my therapist called it very similar to what they did to the men that were captured in North Korea. And she said, "The one thing, Nancy, that you can say for yourself and your strength is that it took them so long to crack you." And they did. They cracked me. I had a psychotic break. And this psychotic break was so intense that I was brought in restraints in an ambulance to a hospital where I did not even recognize my husband. And this out of reality continued. It took me a long time to recover. I didn't have any particular help. The quote-unquote church, I felt they were not helping at all. Let's just say that. The Scientology doctor they had sent me to had put me on a drug called chloral hydrate, the same drug that they gave to Lisa McPherson, who had died. I was told it was the same drug that Dr. Dank had found for L. Ron Hubbard, that was not such a psychiatric drug that he could take. And he's died. It was found in the body of, it was actually found as the cause of death of Pamela Anderson. No, is it Pamela Anderson? No, who's the, her son died and then she died. Anna Nicole Smith. It was this drug was the cause of her death. That's what the final thing came out. Chloral hydrate. Chloral hydrate was the name of the drug. I was having my own little opposite day after the hospital and decided that we would do the opposite. So I stopped taking everything that Scientology had told me to take. The huge doses of vitamins that I found out later when I found out that Lisa had died. They'd given her huge doses of vitamins. And a specialist, a doctor, got on the line and said, it wasn't eat one of these vitamins. It was the mixture of these vitamins that they gave her, sometimes forcing down her throat, that killed her.